And all the Mandalorians and Womandalorians rejoiced, for there was a new Faction Essentials video. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zetas Prevails. Today, we've got a new Faction Essentials video covering the light side Mandalorian team, which is probably the only real Mandalorian team currently, if we're being realistic. But Bo-Katan Mandalore, really good character. We've talked about her a lot in the previous videos. So excited to do another Faction Essentials video covering her. Huge shout out to my patrons, by the way. You guys are amazing, and I couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much. You truly are the heroes that I need. We all need, in fact. And if you want to support this channel for free, folks, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment, mount the algorithm, if you would please, kindly. Let's get into it here, folks. This is a fun team. I would like to discuss it with you. So the 5v5 version of this team is well, the 3v3, I guess. The core is Bo-Katan Mandalore, Paz, and IG-12, which is nice. It's convenient because those are requirements to be able to unlock her in the first place. And then in 5v5, of course, this is all barring datacrons and new characters being added. You want to add Mando, and then there's some argument to be had to be able to add for the 5th. You could do Bo-Katan Kryze, like the OG Bo-Katan, or you could do Armor. Armor is significantly worse in my opinion because you don't have the cool healing, the passive healing that Bo-Katan Kryze gives you. Plus, I mean, she does a daze and a dispel. She does some okay stuff. The passive abilities from Bo-Katan is probably going to win over Armor for the most part. That's not going to be true every time, probably, but as far as the Omicron priority and Zetas, you want all the Zetas, folks. I'm sorry to say, you don't need the Mando lead, I guess, but otherwise, you do want all of them. I went through and looked at each. I was like, yeah, they're probably necessary. The one big debate, so you need Bo-Katan's leadership, Omicron. You really do. The one biggest question mark, in my opinion, is should you add the Bo-Katan unique, which is the one that allows you in GAC to ignore taunt. And honestly, guys, it's really nice. It is really, really nice to have. You don't absolutely have to have it, but I would recommend trying to get that. Leadership is obviously way more important, but you really need it. And then the special one, you really don't need. I mean, it's fine. It's nice enough. If you're a huge fanboy of Bo-Katan and her squad, you could do it. You're not going to be struck blind or something if you don't do it. You know what? I'm not going to commit to that. You might honestly just be struck blind or something. That would be funny. Please let me know if that happens to you. IG-12, I think that's the territory one, right? You could add it if you wanted to. I don't think it really moves the scales or shifts the scales. I don't know what you do with scales. But I don't think it moves them one way or another. So, anyways, that's basically it. You want all the Zetas, you want Bo-Katan's, Omicrons, at least most of them if you can. So Bo-Katan first. Now I have the relic number as always with Faction Essentials videos. I'm showing you guys my mods, and they're not always going to be the ideal, so you're gonna have to actually listen to the video and watch it. Screenshot if you want, of course. But then I also do have just the visual of like, this is my relic 8 version of Bo-Katan. So if you're wondering to compare stats and you only have relic 7, don't feel too bad that my offense is way better than yours, etc. Though you probably do want to be in the same ballpark. So for her, you do want speed. It's kind of important for her to be fast because she wants to take turns. It just doesn't have that many ways to gain turn meter. Like she tends to be like a pretty honest form of, team, whatever, in terms of she doesn't cheat to get turn meter or bonus turns. She just inevitably takes you out, and so you want some speed on her if you can. And then the one thing you want to note is she has an offense triangle as opposed to crit damage, even though she has a pretty high crit chance. The huge reason for that being she does a ton of true damage, and true damage is all based off of what your offense is. It ignores your crit damage entirely. So you want offense as much as you can, and then she does give her team a huge boost for health. She also gets a few other nice boosts on health, so give her some health if you can. She also has a ton of mechanics that give her a lot of defense, and you really want to make sure that she has some defense at least. I mean, she's going to be gaining a lot, but in general, her team is going to benefit from the same stats. You want a lot of health, you want a lot of defense, you want some offense on certain characters, just survivability, and just kind of inevitably wear your opponents down. So Paz, here's the big difference. My Paz is modded for protection, and he honestly does benefit more from health. He has a thing that gives him protection up, which is based off of his max health, so he wants that health. He also gains max health from Bo-Katan. There's a lot of reasons to give him health. I have him with protection. It's probably not ideal, but I also have way more protection mods, and he's not as important as a lot of other characters on other teams, and so for me, I have him with health. You could just give him a lot of protection like me, and he still does pretty well. He's probably a little less tanky than he could be, though. So, your mileage may vary. I don't think it's that important, though he is better with health. And then defense, whatever sets you choose. I mean, I tend to really like the defense sets. So you can see he's got a couple defense sets, a health set. You can kind of just choose what you want. Follow your heart, folks. You can see I have a decent amount of armor added to him as well. So IG 12 with Grogu. He really benefits from health. The whole team benefits from health, guys. And you want some speed. If you can't make him pretty fast without a speed arrow, which was the case for me, I add a speed arrow instead with some health on it. And basically he's just going to be, I mean, he's kind of the healer. He's the cleanser. He does a lot of cool stuff for your team, as in every time he takes a turn, he calls someone to assist, which is nice. He's just able to keep the team alive, and he's one of the few characters that are also scoundrels it's actually he has good synergy with Mando, which is important because Bo-Katan and Paz for some reason are not characters that have smuggler, which means they don't interact with Mandalore or Bo-Katan with Mando as much, because how he gets a bonus turn whenever one of the scoundrels on his team goes below 75% health. That works for IG-12. It works for Bo-Katan Kryze, which is another reason to keep her on the team, because you get to cycle through his turns faster, potentially, and you get to keep one of your teammates alive. But also, being able to do scoundrel things, it is just kind of a nice perk. Mando is another character who wants offense on his triangle. He does a lot of damage with it, and keep in mind he's the character that doesn't allow revives. He can ignore stealth and taunt when he's doing his whistling birds. He does a lot of cool stuff. When he kills things, you can say knife job if he kills them with his knife. So that's an added opportunity for you. Otherwise, he does want to be a little fast, though. Of course, he does take a few bonus turns here and there. Just remember that his bonus turns aren't triggered by Bo-Katan, Mandalore, or Paz, who are extremely straight shooters. Apparently, at least Bo-Katan has cleaned up a little bit since her passed as a scoundrel, and it's honestly, it's one of the most awkward parts of the Mandalorian team. If they would just change that one part in his kit that says just scoundrels, if it could actually trigger off of like light side Mandalorians, the whole team would benefit greatly. But you want some speed on him, and you want him to be survivable. But remember, his damage is pretty much everything for him. All those whistling birds and everything, if you can get those to trigger, if you can get 20 of them, that's really nice, of course. But the really important thing here, guys, is it's all true damage that he's causing. And so that true damage is based off of offense once again. So crit damage is out. You don't want a crit damage triangle, folks. People do this all the time. And he does want a little speed, so you can give him a speed arrow. I think an offense arrow is probably a little nicer. Offense set, of course. And then some survivability. He's not that survivable, though, so don't bother yourself too much with doing that. And then finally, we have BKK. Bo-Katan Kryze. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that she does is mostly just passive. Like, she provides bonus turns to Mando. Well, at least she provides one because she gets hurt a lot. She's fairly squishy. And then, yes, she has a daze that I guess you can give her some potency if you wanted to. She's also fairly squishy, so you probably want to keep her alive as much as you can. She's really there for the passive boosts on her unique, which lets her team heal passively when they attack out of turn, they heal their protection, which is another really nice way of keeping the team alive. And so if you look at other people's Mandalorians, you'll see them in various states of competence in terms of mods. Like, the people will put a lot of good mods on Bo-Katan Mandalore. They'll put a lot of good mods on Mando, maybe on their tank, maybe an IG-12, but then it really just falls off a cliff when it comes to Bo-Katan Kryze. She's the least of the team. She's the one who's replaceable. If they released some transcendent, amazing light side Mandalorian character, she's the first to get cut. But as of right now, she's also probably the best option. Otherwise, you're adding someone like Sabine, who is fine, I guess. She does okay. She's even squishier. She kind of just doesn't do that much for them, or armor, or I mean, there's just not that much. I guess you could do the Sabine, the new Mandalorian Jedi Sabine, but she's whatever, man. She's for a different team. So, anyways, that's the team. And what do they counter, I guess, is the question that a lot of people will ask. I'm not actually going to show you any footage this time, and the percentages here are a little weird, folks, just because a lot of them have specific datacrons involved, so the percentages are going to be a little off. The main things that you're going to counter, besides killing the Krayt Dragon in the Rise of the Empire, is so she takes out guns at a pretty nice rate. She takes out, I think the biggest one is Lord Vader is she has a pretty high success rate. Now, I would argue that I think she's a little bit higher even than this 84% if you mod her correctly, if you mod her team right. And this is honestly, it's the entire downfall of Lord Vader. Like, Lord Vader just can't be put on offense or on defense. You have to keep him for offense. And what does he kill on offense? Like, he kills some stuff for sure, but he's just kind of a hindrance. He's an expensive galactic legend that no one wants to farm unless they have to. And because you can't put him on defense, you don't really need him anymore. But she just stomps Lord Vader teams really hard. In addition, if the Kenobi, the data here, you can see the weakest data point here is against Kenobi. It has a really low win rate. That the data point that I'm showing is when Bo-Katan doesn't have any datacrons and Kenobi doesn't have any datacrons. And this win rate, it's probably it's probably an okay approximation. Like if you have better modding and your datacrons aren't his datacrons aren't preventing her from being able to take him out, you probably usually beat him. That's a nice added bonus. Just don't be too surprised when you get taken out. The thing that is really nice in that counter, the thing that people are like, oh dude, but we have to worry about who Cat is going to just destroy. Remember, in GAC, she revives one person, and so you start with your revive gone basically, but Cat does not actually delete someone. Eventually she might delete someone, but not initially. Otherwise, I thought it was kind of funny. She just completely owns the dark side Mandalorian team with Maul lead. Like, it's not even close. This win percentage is fairly low because this is using the Luthen datacrons, and I didn't really see a way past using those, honestly, folks. It was a lower win rate back then. It'll be, well, once people start looking at this video in a couple months, the reality will be she takes out that SAW team way more consistently than just 60%. And then, I mean, killing Inquisition, it's going to be pretty hit and miss. I thought that was an interesting data point, though. I actually didn't realize before looking at these numbers that she did counter Inquisition. So a lot of different teams that she counters. You could see that she just completely owns the Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team, which is also canonically accurate, so that's nice. And yeah, I mean, does she counter other galactic legends? She could probably take down, like, Jedi Master Luke sometimes. It depends on if she just gets ability blocked forever against that team or not. A lot of different teams that she's pretty good at. I would say, in general, folks, don't put her on defense, because a lot of different... I mean, that's the way of pain, right? Like, someone's just going to use Sith Eternal and delete the team. And otherwise, it's a good team, guys. On offense, it's not transcendent. It's about what you would hope for, honestly, for a team that it's kind of a luxury team. It's just a legendary that she's not required for anything for, but she lifts your roster by quite a bit. She's good in PvE. She's good all over the place. So, anyways, that's it, folks. That's all I have for you today. Hope this was helpful. If you liked the video, please don't forget or neglect to hit that thumbs up button, comment, do something for that poor algorithm. And we'll see you on the next one, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zereth prevails. Take care, folks.